What initially inspired you to become a Fort Worth PD or a police officer at such a young age? I was looking at that 22.
Yeah.
What were your perceptions of law enforcement when you joined? I mean,
well, I'm going to tell you, I said it was kind of a fluke.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things I used to watch. I don't know if you remember this show, Cagney and Lacey.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I was a big avid Cagney and Lacey watcher.
Okay.
I love that show. And I think I loved it because I saw women being detectives and out on the street and
Yeah.
doing their thing. They were bad. There were some bad chicks.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were also feminine.
Yeah.
And I liked law enforcement. I was in college at the time taking law enforcement courses.
Yeah.
And it was just the Cagney and Lacey thing. I just thought that was so cool because I had never met a female police officer before.
Yeah.
So that show is what introduced me to women in law enforcement. And so as I was studying it, I just became more intrigued about law enforcement. And it actually was a fluke because my mother knew that I was interested in it. Fort Worth PD was actually doing a recruitment, had a recruitment deal at her clinic. She's an RN. She worked at a clinic over on East Rosedale in Fort Worth.
Okay.
It was a community center with a clinic in it. And she said she picked up one of the papers and brought it home because she knew I was interested in it.
So she didn't have a problem with it then?
Well, she didn't think I would actually do it. She just brought the paperwork home for me to kind of look into, because I kept talking about it. I was like, I wonder what happens when they apply. What do they do next? I just had all these questions.
Mm-hmm.
And since they were at her job doing a recruitment event, she brought the paperwork home so I could see it. And I said, okay, so I started reading it. They were actually hiring. I didn't say anything to her or my father. I applied just to see what would happen. I didn't think I was going to get the job.
Wow.
I was just applying because I'm in college now.
Yeah.
I'm in college. I'm going to TCU at the time, Texas Christian University, doing my thing, partying. You know what college kids do.
Yeah.
And I just had this interest in law enforcement based on this TV show because I thought it was cool. I thought it looked exciting.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of a high energy person, so all the running around and all that just kind of drew me in.
Yeah.
So I applied, got called to take the civil service exam, scored very high on it.
Yeah.
Next thing, they called me in to do the physical assessment.
Yeah.
I didn't work out. I didn't do it. I didn't know anything. I was like, well, I'm just going to go down.
Yeah.
I failed it. And the guy said, well, you can come back in 30 days. Well, I'm a competitor. So I felt like the test beat me. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be ready when I come back. Still not thinking I'm going to get this job. For me, it was just something, let me see what the process is like.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going through the process. I passed it the second time.
Mm-hmm.
No big deal. They do my background investigation. They called me for the interview.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even take the interview serious. I go down there. I'm dressed appropriately, but I go down there because for me, it was, let me see what this is about. Because I had talked to one of my instructors about it and everything.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, you should go ahead and go for the interview. Well, the interview came up and I go down there and I'll never forget. I don't know if you remember Ron Miller.
I do
Ron
remember.
Miller was on my interview board.
Uh-huh.
Margaret Terry was on my interview board.
Okay.
And then all these deputy chiefs and whoever else was in there. I'm a 22-year-old kid. I don't know. I've never had a real interview. So I'm in there. I had these people laughing because I'm just being myself. I had a traffic warrant.
Oh, wow. And you
When
didn't
I
know anything about it?
I knew about traffic warrant. I didn't care because at the time, I was just, that's what I'm telling you. I was a kid just trying to see what this was about. So I go in there and they're like, we go through the interview and everybody's laughing and, because I'm just being myself. And at the end of the interview, I'll never forget, the deputy chief says, well, you have this traffic warrant. And at this moment, I'm like, okay, they're getting ready to take me to jail. And she was like, so what are you planning on doing about that? If you were to get this job, how would you handle that? And I said, well, the reason I haven't paid, and I was honest, I said, the reason I haven't paid it is because my father would not pay the ticket because I didn't have a job. I'm in school and I don't have a job. I got the ticket and he said, until you get a job, I'm not going to pay that ticket because that's your ticket. I need you to have money to give me mine back. They started laughing. And I looked at them and said, so if y'all give me this job, you don't pay the ticket and then I can give him his money back. They laughed. They told me to go sit outside. At that moment, I knew I didn't get this job. Margaret Terry, I'll never forget, Margaret Terry walks out. She passes me. She gives me a thumbs up and keeps walking. And I was like, I wonder what that, I didn't know what that meant. They called me back in. Ron Miller walks out. In that moment, they tell me that I got the job. What day the academy started.
How did you look when they told you that?
I didn't know what to do because I was going back to school. This was in like maybe May, maybe in the spring, because they told me the academy started in June.
Yeah.
At the end of June, July. And I needed to go get my uniforms, get fitted for my uniforms, and everything was going to move quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, in that moment, I was just kind of stunned because I was like, I'm supposed to go back to school in August for my senior year.
Oh, wow.
So it's either take this job or drop out of college.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, if I tell my parents I'm dropping out of college, that's not going to go well.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know what to do. So for about a week, I did nothing. I just thought about it. And then finally, I had a talk with my parents and told them, I think I really want to take this job because I can always go back to school. And my father looked at me. I'll never forget.
Your dad was a professor then?
My father was a professor, yeah. He said, well, I tell you what. He said, if you want to take that job, you can take that job. He said, but what I need you to understand is college, when you go back, is on your dollar because we've done our part. He said, that's a real job. That's a real career. You can afford to pay for your own college. You'll pay for your last year when you go back.
Wow.
If you want to take the job, I don't have a problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother, of course, that's when it hit her that this is serious.
Yeah.
I didn't think this girl was really going to want to do this. I thought she was just interested in it. Yeah. So, of course, as a mother, she didn't want me to do that because of the danger factor. But she said, if that's what you want to do, I'm just going to pray about it, leave it in God's hands, and you do what you feel like you need to do. And from there, I did my thing. I went and got fitted for my uniforms. We started July 21st, 1992. That was the first day of the academy.
Wow.
So, and I ended up later going back to school, finishing my degree at TCU.
Yeah.
So that's how it started.
I like that part about what your mother said. Hopefully some of the viewers who are in the same spot that your mother's in will think about that.
Yeah. She said, God is in control.
Yeah.
She said, I give you to God, and whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
You do it.
Wow.
So.
As an African-American woman in law enforcement during that era, what unique perspectives or challenges did you bring to or encounter in that role as a police officer?
Can I start with one? I think I was unique because I always tell people, for me, I had the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
And when I say that, what I mean is my parents grew up in the hood, Stop 6 Eastwood, people who are familiar with Fort Worth, Stop 6 Eastwood, Berry Hill area.
Okay.
But as my parents, and I say I grew up with my parents because they were young. My mother was 17, my father was 19 when I was born.
Wow.
So I watched them go to college and become successful. So once they went to college and finished and did their thing, we moved to the southwest side of town when after my father got out the military, we came back to Fort Worth. We were living in the southwest side in a nice neighborhood away from Stop 6 and Berry Hill area. Yeah. So I got to spend a lot of time in the hood as well as in those communities with people who don't look like me. Yeah. So I've learned to kind of interact with all types of people. I had that diversity where I went to school with mostly white students. So I had to learn how to navigate that being one of the few blacks in my school,
Yes.
and then being over here in the hood, acting a certain way over here. So you learn how to, what do we call it?
Be a chameleon.
Yeah, you
Blend
do.
in.
I mean, you learn. So I think coming into police work, I was able to navigate because I had the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
I knew how to deal with racism because I dealt with it as a child.
Yeah.
With my dad being in the military, living in South Dakota, Rapid City, South Dakota, when there were, I mean, going to the mall in Rapid City, South Dakota, and people walking up to us because they had never seen black people in person before.
Wow.
Asking, can I touch you? Because they had never seen black people before.
You know, you hear people tell those stories. They don't believe them, but that's true. That's
true. That was in the 70s. I remember being a little girl going off the base and going into a mall in Rapid City, South Dakota, and little kids staring at me and asking their parents, can they talk to me because I was black? Because they had never seen black people before. So once you left the base, it was a totally different society out there. Yeah. So just having that experience and then being able to come back and go back to school in the hood while my parents were in school or working or whatever. Yeah. And it was two totally different worlds. So I learned how to navigate all those. And so when I came into the academy, I experienced some microaggressions. Yeah. And I don't think that would be a surprise to anybody.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I experienced,
the politically correct term. Yes. But it's true.
So just even just after the workout, what to do with my hair. Because we're sweating like I don't know what. So, you know, as a black woman, your hair getting wet every day and you don't know what to do with it. I can't just go and blow dry my hair and get in formation like everybody else. I got to figure out what to do with my hair. Yeah. And I remember one of my training officers telling me after a workout when we're in formation that my hair looked like a rat's nest.
Oh, wow.
I remember that. That was in Fort Worth PD. Yeah. 1992. So I was dealing with some things and having to learn how to navigate some things within the department that were racial. Yeah. And just kind of having to, you know, and there were only 2 African Americans in my academy class. I was the only black female and a former, I believe he was an assistant chief. Yeah. Abdul Prejean was the other African American.
Yeah, that's right. So, you know, and that takes me to this. That wasn't even one of the questions I was going to ask, but I'm going to throw that in there with this. Only 2 of you all in the academy class. 1992, was it? Yep. When I came through, it was me, Abe, and Willie Hawkins. There were only 3 of us. I think it was 1991. So we came in a little before you. How do you feel about, you know, when I was a recruiter for Fort Worth PD and I really looked at the diversity levels, how do you feel about, here it is 2025, and when you hear people say, well, we can't find them.
Right.
I call BS on that because
I agree.
I think you can find them. You're just not looking hard. And you can find qualified individuals.
Because I'm going to be honest with you, I really believe that the fact that I was a TCU student got me in the door.
You might be right.
Because I had a traffic warrant. If I was just the regular Joe Blow with a traffic warrant, I probably would have got arrested that day. Yeah. But you need some African Americans in that class. Yes. Again, there's only 2 in my class. So I believe the fact that I was a TCU student, because you know how people look at Texas Christian University around here. Exactly. And they found nothing in my background because I had done nothing prior to that. I think TCU is what got me in the academy. I really believe that.
I'm going to say go Horned Frogs then. But I think you're right.
I believe that because how could you have a class of, I believe we started with about 35 or 40. Yes. There was only 2 African Americans in that class.
I always find it strange when I hear, well, there was only 3 or there's only 2. Or he was, I could understand that if you're telling me the early 60s, the early 50s, or late 50s. But in today's time, I mean, this is for anybody that's listening, you can't tell me that in a class of 40, all you have is 3 or 4.
Because if you go back and you look at the time when we came in, everybody either had military.
Exactly.
Or a degree.
I had a military.
Or you had college.
Yes. I had a
African Americans.
Exactly.
Now,
And I
I
had so
saw
many
people
others
in my
too.
class that didn't look like me,
Mhm,
who didn't have military,
mhm,
and may have only had 30 hours of college.
mhm.
But I hardly ever found African Americans from around 85 to maybe 95 that didn't have one or the other.
Yeah,
They all had to have one or the other.
interesting.
And I could be wrong, but
Interesting. What would you say were the most rewarding aspects of being a police officer? And what were the most challenging? You've told me some of the challenges. What were some of the most rewarding for you?
I would say the most rewarding is being able to help somebody come out of the life that they're living.
Yeah.
And it's not even, it's kind of like in a roundabout way,
Mhm.
because there would be times I would take guys to jail and then I would go in mama mode because I'm fussing.
Yeah.
Your mama worked too hard for you to be doing whatever.
Yeah.
What do you want to do besides this?
Uh-huh.
And kind of put them on a track. So I can't make them do it, but you plant the seed. And so what made it rewarding is years later or a time later, you come across those same people and they have changed their life.
Yeah.
They heard what you said. You planted the seed. So just being able to allow young children to see me in uniform
Mhm.
and trust me enough to come to me when they have an issue. Just being able to build those relationships. I'll tell you about, remember the funeral home owner, Gregory Spencer?
Yeah, remember that.
When Gregory Spencer was murdered, I broke that case because somebody trusted me enough to call me and tell me where his car was and who the murderer was. They called me at like 2 or 3 in the morning and they said, I have some information. And the person that gave me the information asked if I still knew you and wanted me to give you this information because they're afraid. And I said, okay, what do you have? And they said, well, his car is at this location.
Mhm.
His clothes are in that car. And I can't tell you who they are, but I'm telling you where the car is. I said, is the car there now? He said, yes. I said, let me call you back. At the time, Commander Antoine Williams, who's a commander now, he was working that area during the midnight shift. I called him and said, are you at work? He was like, yeah. I said, go to this address, pull to the back, tell me if you see this car. He called me right back, said, I got the car. I said, pull it, I'm on my way to work. He pulled the car, they got fingerprints off the car, and that's how they were able to break that case for Arlington PD.
Oh, wow.
And so that is what makes me feel good about the job that I did as a police officer, because of the relationships I built with people out there on the street.
Yeah.
They felt comfortable enough. And even those who didn't feel comfortable enough, they knew somebody that they could trust to call me and give me information to handle some of the business out there on the street.
Whoa. Okay. What ultimately led you, Rhonda, to transition from law enforcement to education? And do you see any connections between those two professions? I mean, now it's Dr. LaRhonda Young. And it's not like I wouldn't expect that from you, but I'm really happy for you. I mean, you're an inspiration to some other people, many other people. But do you see a connection in those two? Yes,
that actually, police work led me into education. And I'm going to tell you how, because like I said, and for me, drugs and guns was my thing. Everybody has their niche in law enforcement. Some people like traffic, some people,
True, yeah.
Drugs and guns was my thing. And so anytime I would have an arrest, these are young guys, you remember when they were doing the little 5 and 10 crack dealing on the corners, and anytime I would have some of those guys in my back seat, I always talk to them. I want to get in their head. I want to know why you're doing what you're doing. Everybody has a story.
Yeah.
You didn't just wake up and start selling crack one day. I want to know how you got into this.
Yeah.
So I would talk to them, and some of them, because some of them should be in school. Why are you not in school? And some of them would tell me, teachers don't understand me. I mean, I don't think like everybody else. That's code for I can't learn like everybody else learns. That's what that is. I didn't know that at the time. but it was, the teachers, they just don't get me, that kind of thing. And then as you talk to them, you can tell there's something that's not quite clicking academically because I'm listening to their speech.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, if we go buy some dope and I ask you for this amount and you don't have to weigh it and you can give me exactly what I asked for, I got to go weigh it, but you didn't.
Yeah.
You're a scientist and you don't even know it.
Wow.
So those things right there, it just led me to think a lot further than what I was seeing in them. I'm like, I see somebody that could be doing something totally different. I saw something in them that they didn't see in themselves.
That is mind blowing because you say to yourself when you see some of the things people get involved in,
yeah,
if you put as much time into something legitimate,
yes,
you could be a multimillionaire.
Yes, if you can run this many people, you have this many people working for you selling crack on the street.
Yeah.
You got these many people doing this, this, and this. You are running a whole business.
Yeah.
It's just not legitimate.
Yeah.
That means you already have the skill set.
Yes.
We just got to get you you just need to, but you're afraid to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
You dropped out of school because you said teachers don't understand you. You dropped out of school because you said you just couldn't make the grades.
Yeah.
Actually, you could. Somebody just couldn't reach you.
Yeah.
That's what I saw.
Yes.
So there was a time when I worked down at the academy and I was an academy instructor. I was a cultural diversity instructor for a little bit.
Okay.
And that's when I kind of fell in love with teaching. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of started putting the two things together. And, when things kind of started to change for me in law enforcement, I just started thinking, I want to do something different. My father was an educator. So, it was in me. I didn't even know it. Right?
Yeah, you saw him day to day.
Yeah, so I was just like, yeah. So when I finally left the department and decided education was the way I was going to go, it all clicked for me. This is what I was seeing. I started as a special education teacher. Mm-hmm. I started working with high school students who were about to drop out of school because they couldn't read or a teacher couldn't reach them or, and so I figured out this is what the problem was. Mm-hmm. This is why these kids are selling dope because they don't feel like they can make it in school. Mm-hmm. So they found something that they're good at and that's what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So that's how the two kind of connected for me.
Yeah.
And so even today, I work in an elementary school and I see the behaviors of students. If we don't get them now, if we don't grab them now, they'll be those 16, 17-year-olds that I used to deal with on the street when I was a cop. Yeah. So I feel like I can grab them now and put that confidence in them now and build them up before they go that way. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
Oh. Looking back at your time in law enforcement, what qualities do you believe are essential for police officers to effectively serve their communities? What qualities they need to have to be in the communities?
Well, I always say, and to make it simple, you have to have good social skills. It's very simple.
Agreed. Yeah.
Manners. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. When we went through the academy, that everybody had to say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. People hated to come to the academy because they knew when the academy class got on break, they were going to hear you about 40 times.
If they're walking down
good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. I mean, just good social skills, manners, having cultural awareness. And I think that is a big piece of it. Yes. Because if you are going to work in neighborhoods around people that you have never been around, you don't know the background, you don't understand how there are generations of people who are poor or why they're poor, because people don't choose to be poor. There are a lot of factors that go into that. I think they need to understand that before they allow them to work in these neighborhoods. And I think...
and not just to come to the neighborhood because you're trying to get a reputation.
Right.
Or, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. So just having good cultural awareness, being able to relate to people. Yeah. And that's the social factor, that social skills factor, just being able to having empathy and compassion. Yeah. You have to have that to be a good officer. And that's just one of the things. You can't just be a bulldog all the time. You can't be just this, this burly, ready, just ready to enforce all the time. Mm. Because for me, it was about service. It wasn't about enforcement. Enforcement comes with it.
Yes.
But it was about the service. I wanted people. See, I had never seen a female police officer that I remember. Put it that way.
Yeah.
So that's where the show Cagney and Lacey came in.
Yeah.
And I had never seen one who looked like me, as far as African American or Black, whatever you want to call us, that was out on the street that I had contact with. All the police officers I had ever seen were white. And there wasn't a good experience.
Yes.
So I wanted to, if you will, infiltrate the department and see how can I show people that this job can be done in a way that's respectful. You can still do enforcement, but you show respect and compassion to the people in the area, and you're providing a service. You're not there to just kick butt and take names.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. How have your perceptions of police officers changed or evolved since leaving the PD and pursuing a career in education? Have they changed? I guess when you're like me, you get to observe from a distance.
Yeah.
Some of the things we see, I'm not trying to lead you, but I'm going to give you my perspective.
Okay.
Some of the things I've seen, I've had arguments with people that I'm friends with.
Mm-hmm.
One case was the Tatiana Jefferson deal. That should have never happened.
Well, I did a whole interview about that with CBS.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
When Tatiana Jefferson was murdered, because that's what it was.
Yes.
I'm going to call it what it is. I call it spade a spade. It was murder.
Mm.
Because I'm known for speaking out. After I left the department, I didn't have a problem with speaking out against officers who were doing things that they should not do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the things, and I'm going to say this before I get into that, one of the things the public has to understand is that when you're in that uniform, you cannot, and this is with anybody else's job, you cannot publicly speak out against some of the things that are going on, because you represent that department.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean you agree, but you cannot publicly speak out. So I took advantage of that when I left, that I have the voice that some of my former colleagues don't have now, and I'm going to use it. And so I'll never forget, I got a phone call from a law enforcement officer in Fort Worth, not from Fort Worth PD,
yes,
but in Tarrant County,
yes,
whose niece was a producer for Gayle King.
Oh, wow.
With CBS Mornings.
Yes.
And he said she called him and was asking if there was any officer that could speak about the Tatiana Jefferson killing.
And it was gold at your Fort Worth PD.
Right. Yeah. So because Gayle King wanted somebody who was African American on a department or in law enforcement in the area that could speak on it. Mm-hmm. And of course he was very frank with the, people in uniform can't do that, but I got somebody for you. Mm-hmm. She may speak for you. And so he called me and asked me if I minded if he passed my number on. Not thinking I was going to hear from her within 30 minutes. She called me within 30 minutes. Can we send a crew to your house?
Wow.
Because we need this story in the morning. And they sent a crew to me and interviewed me and asked me about that shooting. Mm-hmm. And they asked me, how did I feel about police officers today? And I was just very frank. I said, with everything that I'm seeing, because, with George Floyd, we went through a period like from 2018 to about, 2022, where there was a lot of stuff coming out, because of videos that we could see that officers were doing Ahmaud Arbery that were just not right.
Yes.
And so I said, well, as a Black female, former police officer, I'm afraid when I get stopped, because I don't know how the officers are going to approach. Now that I'm out of uniform, I'm afraid when I get stopped, because I don't know what attitude the officer is going to approach me with.
Yeah.
Because I had seen a difference in when I was taught, when you engage, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, that's not what I was seeing.
Yes.
And so I saw a change from around, I guess it was around 2018 to around 2022. And so I spoke, I did that interview, and they released it the next morning, and it went all over. I mean, it was a national interview. Whoa. And so I spoke and said, if that officer had simply knocked on the door, Tatiana Jefferson would still be alive today.
Rhonda, this is what the argument was.
Yeah,
that's exactly what the argument was.
The lights were on.
All you had to do was announce yourself.
That's it. That's it. That's all he had to do. Why are you walking around the side of her house?
Yeah.
You get to a location for a welfare check.
Exactly my
It's
argument.
A welfare check. It's not a burglary call.
Done hundreds of them, and never did I remember having to go around like that.
I said, there's a car sitting there. That's the first thing we learned. Touch the hood of the car. Is it hot? Is it cold? If it's cold, you know the car hasn't moved. That's common sense for an officer, I thought.
Yes.
The front door is open. The neighbor that called just sitting outside. Okay. Tap on the door and announce yourself. And so he did none of that.
Yes.
So I was like, if he had simply knocked on the door, she would have said,
yes,
hey, or something.
I forgot. I left the door open.
That's it.
You know how many of those calls we've been on where they did leave the door open? Right. They brought their groceries in and they forgot to close the door, something like that. Or I had to tend to my child.
That's right.
I forgot that the door was open.
That's right. And so, I have a hard time because I did hear another officer say in another interview that he would like to ask the officer what was going on in his head. For me, I don't need that, because if I had made that same call that officer got, I wouldn't have got the leeway that officer got that night. My badge and gun would have been gone that night. I would have already been on leave. It took a minute. It took a couple of days, if I'm not mistaken, to even get him to get his badge and his gun. That shouldn't have happened. And so my academy classmate was acting chief at the time. So I'm riding this story because I'm like, no, something has to happen immediately for you to let these people know that you care about these people in this neighborhood. Yes. You cannot cover that officer. That officer was wrong. We know he wasn't trained to do what he did. So it's not about the training, because that's not how he was trained. And I think the academy instructors even said the same thing. He wasn't trained to do it that way. So let's be clear. If that had been me or you, they would have had our badge and gun that
different
night.
Outcome. Yeah.
That night. Yeah. So I don't feel like I need to give him the grace to say, let me see what he was thinking. Yeah. No, a trained officer, even though you hadn't been doing it that long, first thing you learn, if there's a car there, you touch that car and see if the door is open and the lights are on. Yeah. We don't have a reason to go in somebody's backyard if the lights are on and the door is open. There was no grace for me. Yes. It was, let's handle business. Yes. Let's do it expeditiously.
Wow.
So.
What role does empathy play in effective policing, and how can departments better cultivate that quality in their officers? Is it just getting them slowly aware of what's going on, or is it at a rapid pace, or are you making sure that those people prior to hiring them have some type of awareness of how they should treat people?
I think during the hiring process, you need to look for that. Yes. You need to look for whether or not these people have a sense of awareness and empathy. Okay. Because I don't think it's something you can teach, to be honest. That has to be something that's already in you.
I would have to say that's true.
I can't say that you can teach that, because I think we can both say that we've gone through the academy and worked with people that they probably they would say it out of their mouth that they're there to serve people, but at the end of the day,
we both know that
we both know that that's not, that wasn't their motive.
Absolutely.
So
what advice would you give to young people, particularly young African American women who are considering a career in law enforcement today?
I would say today you have every opportunity in the world at your feet. Go for it. And I still tell people it's a good career. As a young 22-year-old, I had to grow up quickly. once I got in that uniform.
Yeah.
You know, I was still a 22-year-old kid going to parties, hanging out, doing my thing,
Yes.
you know, in college. But when I put that uniform on the first day, it was, I mean, I will tell you, my very first call, first day on the street, coming out of roll call with my training officer. I'll never forget, Signal 12 on Dillard Street.
Oh, a dead person.
A dead person.
Yep.
Well, no, I'm sorry. It was a 37. It was a 37.
Okay.
So we're rushing, getting in the car. I don't even know where I'm going yet.
Yeah.
All I heard was Dillard Street. My training officer's like, get in the car. He made me drive. I don't even know how to read the map good yet. Because back then we didn't have GPS. You had to know how to read that map. And when we get there, I had a 14-year-old boy with a gunshot wound to the head laying on the porch. That was my very first call.
Wow.
That was my reality in the law enforcement. So I would say to anybody, any female, I don't care who you are, if you want to do it, there are so many opportunities in that job, but be ready for it to hit you like a brick.
Yes.
The reality that
and the responsibility.
The responsibility, because at 22, I found myself making decisions for people who were double my age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I found myself at 22, 23, making decisions on whether or not somebody's going to jail that night or not. You know, that's 40, 50, 60 years old.
Yeah.
So you have to be ready for that.
Yeah.
And you have to be ready to move in what I call excellence and integrity. Don't ever let anybody, you know, take your integrity and turn it into something else.
Yeah.
Because that's easy. That easily happens in uniform.
Yes.
If you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
You know, that's where we see the officers that are doing things that they shouldn't be doing. They get caught up in the power of the position. A lot of power comes with that position, but at the same time, it's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
And for me, the power isn't the thing that you need to be seeking. It needs to be the relationship with the people on the street, because you don't need the power if you have a relationship.
That makes sense.
It'll work itself out.
Yeah. Drawing from both your law enforcement and educational backgrounds, what do you believe the public should understand about police officers that they might not currently appreciate? Or do you think there's anything?
You know, something that I share with people all the time is you have to remember, because some people don't understand some of the decisions that officers make on traffic stops.
Yes.
And I have to explain to people, what you have to remember is that those people want to go home, and they don't want to go home in a body bag. Mm-hmm. It's a reality.
It is a reality.
When we walk out there doing their uniform, that we may not come home alive.
Yes.
And so sometimes the decisions that you don't understand when they're asking you, please keep your hands where I can see them, has nothing to do with you. They don't know you. They're just trying to get home. Mm-hmm. That's all it is in most cases.
Yes.
You know, so my thing is, understand that, and also understand, we know that we still have a race issue in this country. Mm-hmm. But also understand that those officers who look like you can't speak out against their own department while they're still working there. So you have to allow them to move within their department and handle those things in-house. And the other thing is, don't think that they're not speaking up.
Yes.
Just because you don't see it.
Yes.
Because they can't do it openly. But I can guarantee you, and this is to the public, I can guarantee you there is some infighting going on in these departments amongst your African-American officers and those officers who don't look like you when there's a racial issue that has come up or that has been exposed out on the street. They are handling it in-house. But there's a way to do it. They have to do it professionally, and they can't speak out against that's their bread and butter. That's how they feed their family.
Yeah.
So I just ask the community to be mindful of that there are people fighting for you on the inside, and you can't fight from the outside. You gotta be on the inside. So I say, if you want to be a police officer, go get it, because we need you. We need somebody who looks like us to speak for us on the inside. And when there's nobody to speak for us on the inside, that's where things continue to be like they are.
I couldn't have put it better. Dr. LaRhonda Young, thank you so much for being a part of this
Thank you for
conversation.
the opportunity. Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. LaRhonda Young, thank you so much for the opportunity. Great conversation.